What is up, witches? I am back for you with yet another intuitive tarot reading for the month of July. It's been a while since I've done a tarot reading on my channel. It's been a while since I've done tarot reading in general. I try to, maybe do a card pull or a rune pull here and there, but your girl has been slacking, I'm not gonna lie. Hopefully. Vain air gods be praised. I will not be working all the time sometime in the foreseeable future, and I will have more free time to dedicate to things I actually want to do with my life, aka witchy things, but I digress. Let's do a tarot reading for the month of July. I'm going to use my tarot of the golden wheel, and then I think I might pull from the fairy forest. So let me flip the camera around and let's get into it. So my lighting is not the best, but we make do. Oh, okay. Well, that one was facing the wrong way all by itself, so I guess might be seeing some more heat waves across the nation/world as we get into the full swing of summer here. Or it could just mean, the actual interpretation of the card is not that literal, but it can just mean, the end of something foundational, some type of status quo, or perhaps just casting out an old mindset, thought, opinion, belief that is no longer serving you. So something may come to an end, perhaps rather abruptly, or, the world could just be literally on fire right now. Ten of Wands. And the Page of Wands. Okay, so the wands, or rods, as you might see them referred to in other decks, correspond with the element of fire and the aspects of passion, creativity, art, passion projects, just whatever it is that you are passionate about, inspired by in the world. What do you want to create and bring forth? But as you can see here in the Ten of Wands, there's a blindfolded man in kind of a dusky colored landscape, and he's kind of on some uneasy footing here. He looks unsteady. The wands or rods look unsteady and all in a jumble in his arms. It just looks extremely unstable. He can't even see where he's going. And so what I was saying with the Tower card in terms of perhaps holding on to old institutions, beliefs, or patterns that are no longer serving you, you could also just be taking on too much right now, or feeling like overwhelmed, like you have too much to carry, too many burdens, too many projects. You're trying to bite off more than you can chew, take on more than you can handle. Or in my last video, I said, my reach often far exceeds my grasp. Especially when it does come to projects or things that I'm passionate about. I might want to start too many creative projects all at once, read too many books all at once, that type of thing. And so this may just mean needing to take a step back and examine, what are you carrying, what are you trying to juggle right now, and can you put some of those burdens down, find a way to at least reshuffle or rearrange them, or hell, even just take the blindfold off and be aware of what you're carrying so you can at least see where you're going and what you're doing with it. Because eventually, this is not going to go well. You can't maintain this forever. Like I said, this guy seems extremely unstable. But with the Page of Wands, which actually is the next card in the suit after the 10, usually corresponds to, if it's a specific person, someone in, the younger stages of life, whether that be physically, mentally, career-wise, just something young, innovative, entrepreneurial. This person is standing there with their staff looking off into the distance, hopefully and triumphantly, surrounded by these flowers and these bright, passionate colors. And so it's very hopeful card to me. It means that, once you're able to finally realize that you're in this situation and do something about it, you can feel more refreshed, more optimistic. You're only holding on to one stick in this card instead of trying to juggle 10. Now you're just hopefully and steadily holding on to one. It's supporting you instead of you trying to carry all of these. Now you just have one good, strong stick that you can rely on, whatever that is. Find your good stick. Just maybe be aware if you're trying to take on too much. Focus just on one or two things for right now. And this is a good segue into what I was saying. Temperance. This gives off very strong Vayner vibes to me. Like Njord, that like old man and river. And you can see here he's going down to like a river or pond, body of water with two jugs. One he has set down, one he's holding. Perhaps he's already filled this one. But temperance just means balance. Everything in moderation. It's finding the balance so that you're not so unsteady or overwhelmed. Just taking that time out. This is a very a card of just strong but reassured isolation. Just taking that time out, that rest. He almost looks like a hermit or druid figure, just out in the woods, doing his own thing, focusing on himself, not trying to carry too much, just focusing on the task at hand, filling up one jug at a time, not trying to, balance both at once. Just temperance, everything in moderation, everything in its own time, at its own pace. You don't need to hurry, or do everything all at once, which I fall into that trap all the time. I always struggle with feeling like could I be doing more? Am I not doing enough? When really it's like, no, you're allowed to rest, you're allowed to relax, have fun, Even with the things that you enjoy doing, with the things that you're passionate about in life, you don't need to be, overzealous when giving it 110% all the time. Everything has its ebbs and its flows, much like, the water in the card. 10 of Wheels. So the wheels, or pentacles, is tied with the element of earth. So we have, kind of mirroring each other there, 10 and 10. But whereas in this case, it's very precarious. You're maybe like on the verge of losing everything. Once you find, where you really want to focus your energies, you find that temperance, you'll feel less overwhelmed. And then you kind of just have this steady home life pictured in this card. It's the 10, the last suit in the deck before you reach the face cards. And so everything within the pentacles, the journey depicted within that suit of cards has kind of come full circle, come to completion. You see the man and woman with their faithful, loyal hound. They're each holding a pentacle and just kind of looking at each other as if to maybe take in each other and take in all that they have accomplished, all that they are surrounded by. But let's look up in just a little guidebook that comes with it what the Ten of Wheels means, just to elaborate on that some more. So it says, this card relates to business success, good family relations, because being tied to the realm of earth, the pentacles or wheels represent material success and just things having to do with the more the mundane, everyday, day-to-day aspects of life, like career, family, those types of things. And so this is just, relates to completion, success in business, good family relations. These people look very well dressed, very well off, traditions, home coziness, a lasting foundation, and being in your comfort zone. So just achieving that achievement overall, like success, stability, happiness. So I think once you're able to balance out what all of the different things that you're trying to take on and maybe alleviate some of those burdens, you'll find that you're actually much more successful, content, and better off in many different aspects of your life, but especially the home, business, and material aspects. Okay, and we have the Emperor. I think he's popped up in one of the readings that we've done before. A very Odinic figure to me, almost verging on like Abrahamic godlike in this depiction, but I definitely see Odin sitting on his high seat or his high shelf where he looks down upon all of the goings on Midgard. And this card kind of represents such an authority figure, whether that be someone literal in your life, a father figure, an authority figure, maybe a role model, or just, whether it be someone you respect or just someone that you have to listen to. It just kind of represents that order and that structure that you'll see often associated with figures like Odin, that law and order, the higher authority. And so maybe it represents, if not an actual person in your life that may be coming into play this month, just perhaps traits that you need to embody, or really, I think what we may start seeing now that we are past midsummer, we're past the highest point of the year where the sun and the days are longest, and so now we're going into the later half of the year, the waning half, where from this point on, the days are going to gradually start getting shorter and shorter. And so I think you're going to start seeing that Odinic energy coming to the forefront a little bit more. Perhaps not right now, but definitely more and more as the season progresses and we get closer to autumn is when I think Odin definitely becomes a lot more prevalent and present in nature and here in Midgard. So it could also just represent him coming more into the picture, or his types of energies. So maybe some of you will be starting to work with him, or the more of the Acer type gods. Let's pull 3 more. Another very authority figure type card, the King of Cups. I associate that more with Njord as a father figure or kingly figure, especially with the cups being the suit tied to the element of water, and therefore feelings, thoughts, emotions, relationships, that type of thing. But the King of Cups represents a fulfilled, complete man in those aspects. He's in touch with his feelings. He's grounded and in tune with his emotions, with his more, quote-unquote feminine side. So that type of figure, just very wise, high emotional intelligence. So it's definitely about finding a balance between those two, I think. And so you might just be seeing more of those energies coming into the picture. The Eight of Wands. Another wand card. So it comes a little bit prior to the kind of unsteadiness situation that you see in the Ten of Cards. I think this is also just kind of adhering you to remember, after you get past that point, to just be cautious, because you can see he might be heading toward disaster, toward this precariousness that you'll get to by the Eight of Wands, because there's all these wands sticking up out of the ground. This youthful figure is grasping one of them aloft triumphantly, kind of brandishing it as they run headlong up this hill, but they're leaving behind like this sunny, clear-looking area, and there's like thunder and lightning bolts and like dark clouds building off in the distance, but either they don't see it or they don't care. They're like almost rushing headlong into danger or something precarious. So just something to watch out for. Just be aware of what's going on around you and what you're carrying forward and where you're going and how you're going about it, is what I would say. So as you can tell, the imagery on the cards itself here is playing a big part for me in how I'm interpreting them, and so I just kind of go off of that based on what I know of the suits themselves and what they're associated with, and building on that from the symbolism depicted in the cards themselves. So let's look up this one as well. Let's see. It says, in the near future, there will be changes. So you're wandering into a change of scenery. Could be very fast-paced. As I said, they're almost rushing headlong into it. You might not even see it coming. Decisions will have to be made. Fast movement, surprises, unexpected news, changes in position, moving, traveling, changing jobs, synchronizing processes, but also along with that, inspiration and activity, and as you can see from like the way they're running, a sense of lightness and mobility. So just rapid movement, rapid progression forward, but just check yourself before you wreck yourself along with that. Finally, we have a very strong Freya energy, and I feel is depicted in this card with this Swan Maiden of Judgment here, which we've talked about before in terms of being tied to that water and Swan Maiden imagery, which is also associated with the Valkyrie, hence I think it being used for the card of Judgment, because the Valkyrie are the ones who choose on the battlefield who's going to go to Valhalla and whatnot. So in terms of this card representing Judgment, it just means, in relation to these cards, using your own judgment. Using your own judgment to decide what do you want to focus on. And I know we've discussed that, I think, in some readings that I've done in the past, but I think it's all been maybe building up toward things that are going to really start happening this month. There's been a build-up to things on the horizon, and now, like, that moment could be here before you even know it. So just, if you're feeling overwhelmed right now and like you have a lot going on and maybe too much to carry, don't be afraid to take a step back, take the blindfold off, set down a few things, reach out for some help, let down what you can, because otherwise there's going to maybe be a sudden upheaval. The Tower can also represent very sudden change, so just rapid progression, having to, make split-second decisions, use your judgment, refer to the gods for help if you need to, but use your own, sense of morality, sense of authority, inner guidance to help you make those decisions, especially if you're doing it from this place of like emotional intelligence and completeness. Like, you'll better know what is motivating you and why you want to do the things that you do, so that you're better able to make smart decisions and not, run headlong into the lightning storm, because you might regret that decision. But that's just me. I did finally buy some materials to trim this deck down. I don't know if I mentioned that before. I have it all nicely edged now, or the corners rounded off at least. So let's pull one from this to get some more, like veneer energy in here, with them being tied to elves and Alfheim. I like this fairy deck because of that, along with, just liking fairies in general. Okay, oh, I got two here, alright. The Green Witch and the Hedge Witch. So this says fresh, new, spring. I think that definitely ties into, the new opportunities and new chances that are going to be presented, as reflected in some of those cards. And the Hedge Witch, herb wisdom, secrets, and hidden lore. So perhaps that is something for you to concentrate on in the month of July. It's garden time. I know my garden can definitely use some attention right now, but my zucchini plant is in full swing, and so is the rest of my yard. So the greenery and green witchery is definitely going to be off the charts here in the next couple months. And yeah, the Hedge Witch. And so related to that, with especially me and planning for my garden this year, I am incorporating a lot more, or plan to incorporate a lot more herbs, and would like to definitely start learning more about herb lore and the things that I can use my garden for. Now is definitely the perfect time of year to do that. And I'm feeling the need while I'm here to balance things out with this deck that my husband picked up, and I haven't really played with it or looked at it very much at all. But it's this Odin and the Nine Realms Oracle. Balance this out with some input from the Acer side, perhaps, and see if Odin has any input for us before we go. Wunjo, I think, is what you also see it referred to, and Thursaz. I don't know about you, but Thor is definitely prevalent here in Kornheim this time of year. Depending on how hot and humid it gets during the day, it's, really 50-50 chance on if we're going to have a pop-up thunderstorm roll through or not, and how severe it's going to be. So Thor has definitely been making his presence known. And this is definitely, I think, more of a Vanir card, with just being tied to joy, abundance, blessings, wealth, happiness, all of those things that the Vanir like to provide for us, but so do all of the gods in general. I think they all want us to be happy, healthy, better people, so I think that can definitely tie into what is represented with the success of the Ten of Wheels. So there might be some upheaval, some rapid changes. You might have to make some split-second decisions on what you want to do or pursue. But I think you will find that if you're approaching it from that place of temperance and balance, knowledge, knowing what you want, knowing what your real needs and motivations are, you will definitely find a lot of joy and happiness coming out of it. And Thor, Protector of Midgard, is here, I would definitely say. So that about wraps it up for this reading. Thank you so much for supporting me and watching these videos. I know that there are so many more other channels out there, like specifically dedicated to tarot, that are way more detailed and way better at it than I definitely, well, I would say divination as a whole is definitely what I have the most practice and experience in, and what I'm definitely very drawn to and always have been. It's not something I've ever really incorporated in my day-to-day life very often, so I would say I'm like still beginner to maybe intermediate level at this point. But yeah, I hope you enjoy examining and learning the tarot more in depth with me as I do, and that this reading is helpful for you going into this next month. And I will see you next time.